guys. We are back for our third episode on Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. We have read through chapter 33. I feel like I say this for a lot of our episodes, but there is so much to talk about. Like, I am personally overwhelmed by the amount of shit that we could talk about that it just happened in the last 11 chapters since episode 2. Never mind, like, the whole 33 chapters up to now. So as a softball, is just like a quick palate cleanser. We want to talk about the other side couples that seem to be cropping up in this book because I don't want to talk about our main couple. They're giving me too much anxiety. So let's talk about who we think is hooking up with Trager. Do we think it's actually Kat?
Yes.
We think so? It's like that simple.
Thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Wait, Elena, you have thoughts?
No, I don't have thoughts on this. Like, I have noticed Traeger's been name mentioned like twice.
But did you notice his hickey? That's what I want to know.
What?
You didn't notice the hickey?
No.
It literally said that there was like a lip mark on his neck.
There was, yeah, and it kind of like dragged. It's not just like a one sentence thing. Like, I mean, it was a one sentence thing, but like Violet commented on it and saying like, "Oh, cat. Oh, okay. Now I see something between them. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's got a mark on his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone has been hooking up with Traeger.
Interesting.
I'm not going back to school. Y'all need to
She's too invested in the deals. Interrelation.
No, I mean, I think Violet noticed it. I think she
Yeah.
was like, I see that. Yeah.
Like
I'm
when
too
they got
caught up
back to
in
them.
the-
Yeah. Traeger was trying to go to Kat, but then she redirected him to Violet or someone else that had an injury.
Yep.
Brooke, who were
Interesting.
you thinking?
Well, just earlier when you guys were talking about it, I just had that thought that like, is that too simple? And are he and Riddick making out in a tent? Like that could also be happening because Riddick keeps making like sexual advances to all the guys, and I'm just like, maybe we think it's Kat and maybe it's Riddick.
I want the guy with the glasses that he was eyeing in class.
Right.
Who's the guy in the glasses?
Some hot piece of first year ass.
Third year, yes.
Oh, third year, that's right, because that was that whole thing.
Because he was like a third year.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I already am not happy with the fact that Rhee's relationship happens off screen, so I would really like Riddick's relationship to be like a little more on screen. That's why I'm projecting and I wish it was Trager, because I don't really care who Kat's with. Like, I don't hate her anymore, but I also don't love her like I love Riddick. But yeah, Riddick could just be a playboy for the rest of the book, and that's fine. If that is how he wants to live his life, go for it.
Yeah, I would really like to see things happening with, and not just as like from first person Violet's view, but like from their point of view. It'll be really interesting where Rebecca goes from this or the third book. Like, will this be like the end of like Violet's story or something, but still in the same world, but maybe it's someone else.
God, I never even thought of that. This isn't the end, right? No.
I don't know.
Only other psychotic romantasy authors do that to us, where they're like, "JK, arc's over."
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope you're wrong.
No, but you're right about Rhee. Yeah. Because, like, she was hooking up with someone who I can't remember the name. Was it Quinn?
Tara? Isn't her?
Oh, Tara. You're right. Yes. Yeah, it was Tara.
Yeah, they're in a very, like, non-committal relationship. She mentions
Yeah, on and off. Right.
Yeah.
I just want to know everyone's love life. Like, I'm just that nosy.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think it's our right. Yeah.
Who else?
I don't know.
Dain...
I'm busy. I was gonna say I'm busy distracted Dain and Sloane.
Dain and Sloane.
I'm liking this.
Yeah.
It's like it's giving he hates me and doesn't notice me, and so I want him.
But also he definitely notices her and wants to protect her like a big brother, and I also love those vibes. Like I could totally get behind that. Also, is anyone else very attracted to Dain in this book again all of a sudden? And are you struggling with that like I am?
Yes, I'm definitely struggling. I don't even remember what I said in
love
our first
him.
set of episodes, but what did you say, Brooke, in our Fable book club? You were like from zero to hero, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, no. I mean, like all of a sudden, like my like Dain is a bitch bookmark sitting in my room. I like kind of feel bad about it a little bit right now, but I
Yeah, because
just like
I have it too.
I love him. I'm not afraid to say it. I am on chapter 33 of Onyx Storm and I love Dain Aetos.
Do you guys remember? I think we had a question where we're like, does Dane deserve a redemption? What was our answers?
I think I had different answers at different times.
Uh-huh.
What
Like,
matters right now our answer yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
all that matters.
Yeah, like cut all
don't
of
need to
us
who needs
yelling
flashback?
about Dain and just like stick it in here in the episode. I know
Remember
like
when we said he was a bitch? Nah. No, I don't remember that at
right.
all.
Right, like end of Fourth Wing Brook wanted him dead, absolutely dead. I think Iron Flame Brook was like, I could take it or leave it. And now I never thought Onyx Stormbrook was gonna be like, if he dies at the end, I will cry. I will probably cry.
Wait, actually, last episode you said you didn't know if you would cry if he died.
No, I mean the last 11 chapters they have done wonders for this man. Like he has leaps and bounds in this section, honestly. He's got funny remarks. He's like, just like the cute childhood moments where he's like, "Oh, yeah, I thought you didn't want us to talk about how Violet and I used to be best friends." Like, I don't know. I'm realizing that he really was a good guy all along and just sometimes was really really stupid, and I do feel bad. I feel bad for all the mean things I've said about him in the past.
I think he was in a hard place, right? Like his dad was coming to him and being like, "Got out friends." So like it took him a while to figure out who was in the right there.
Right. Yeah. No, he had like people that were affecting his judgment, but I think that he's come a long way and I am on the Dain train now. Is he my favorite main character? No, but I do love him.
Oh my god, he's come such a long way. Like I'm trying to
Um,
remember why we didn't like Dane in the first place, and I just remember him being a really strict, rigid rule follower.
Would you like me to remind you?
there's a lot of reasons. There were a number. He got Liam killed. It's
Yeah.
almost completely
I mean
on him
that
that Liam
too.
dead.
Okay, see, you're making me mad again about Dain. I'm remembering why I hated him.
Which I think is part of the Sloane Dane like love saga is
Yes.
that Sloane also is kind of mad about Liam still fairly, and then Dane feels so guilty about it also fairly.
And they can bond over that while they make out.
Do you
And I just
think he
love seeing
would
it.
reciprocate that, or because I felt like it was one sided right now?
I think it's very one-sided, and I think the reason that it's one-sided is because Dane's a big dumb idiot, and he's a wing leader, whereas Sloane is a second-year cadet, so they really aren't supposed to be together anyway. And like Dane rule follower Aetos will be like, no, I cannot be with you. But like that is a side novella that I want to read. I would read that page like cover to cover
Yeah,
5 times fast. Absolutely.
I need
Honestly,
it.
I think a Dane POV of the past few books could be interesting too, because like from how much we hated him in Fourth Wing, it would be kind of interesting seeing his perspective. Like I do think, especially like the gross trying to get back to be a scribe bits, he was trying to keep her safe in his own way. Was it approached poorly? Yes.
And like the touching her to know what she was thinking and doing. Yeah, like he's definitely done some things that he's not proud of. I'm not proud of for him, but I have done a full 180 on Dain at this point, and now I love him. Was I surprised that he got knocked out in the 3-on-3 fight? Absolutely not. I'm so glad he's still alive. I was worried that was the moment we were losing
Yes.
Dain.
Yep.
I would I was surprised about. First of all, I was so worried about Dain. As soon as they cut Dain's arm and was like, "This bitch going," and I was like, just like him. Literally panic attack, and neither of you were up there yet. And I was like, I literally texted Jamie and was like, "Are you on this chapter?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, cool. Never mind. I'm not worried about Dain. Don't worry about it. Um, but from the moment they were like, "Oh yeah, Dane's going in," I was like, "Oh, he's losing his fight." Okay, and then they were like, "Oh, 2 out of 3 need to win." I was like, "Yeah, R.I.P. Dain." Um, what I wasn't expecting was that Xaden was the other one who almost lost. Like, I kind of loved the fact that, like, in my mind, I was like, "Oh, Violet's gonna almost lose and then pull it out." But like, she fully knew what she was doing the whole time and saved Xaden. Like, we love leading Lily.
I love it.
Yeah. Especially because, I mean, Xaden is really powerful even without his signet, but it was really interesting to see like both boys get their asses handed to them, and Violet's like, "Oh, I guess I need to save both of you." Okay, sure.
The weakest, like physically weak compared to them, yes.
Yeah. That was the whole reason they put her in the ring, was because they decided she was the weakest, and they were like, "All right, get in there."
Yeah. Well, and it was so cute when both boys were like daggers as soon as Violet was fighting.
Yeah. They're looking out for her. And I mean, like, I'm glad that she let it happen because, she came to the decision, like, they will be fine fighting with daggers. Like, no, like, daggers are not either of their, like, strongest weapon, but it is my strongest weapon, and we need to make sure that we can all fight really well. But yeah, that was nice of them to stick up for her. Since we're in like this part of the story, I think I want to keep being out of chronological order and talk about like the whole Dune thing and what happened in that scene, because Violet clearly wielded lightning. Like, do we all agree that it was from Violet? Like, she felt it happen? No, but like,
No, it was a coincidence.
wait, Elena, you're
Coincidence.
but she felt it. Like, she felt it happen.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that it came from her, whether Violet thinks it or not. And I think you're both joking, so I'm gonna keep going with this. So do we think
I was
do we
not serious.
do we think that this
I
wielding
was
thing,
serious.
is it Violet? Is it Andarna? Is it both? Is it neither? What do we think? Both?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Because Andarna was getting mad, Violet was getting equally mad too. There was something there. Like even when I think it was before Andarna even said something, and like Violet felt it, and it was anger, like without even Andarna saying anything.
Yep. I think it was like that
Yeah.
golden
And also,
anger.
Golden anger,
yeah,
yes.
they do describe it as golden anger. My thing is I think it has to be connected to Andarna because we're going on the idea that the Irids are on the Isle somewhere where there's not magic. It would make sense that they somehow like interact with the not magic land differently than other dragons.
Yeah. Do we think that if it is like more on the Andarna side, like do we think that it is that Irids somehow have like a magic in them that Violet's like allowed to like pull from and wield with?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. My memory in of Fourth Wing is fuzzy because she had a power before she like grew up, like the stopping of time, right, or slowing down time was
Mm-hmm.
her power, and she was technically an Irid then, right? Before,
Yeah.
or is it just I don't know? I'm just speaking out loud.
I think that the time thing, I think that they chalked that up to being her like baby power, her using her power herself rather than channeling it through Violet. So this seems to be different, and I don't know that she can still do the time thing because I think that ended when she used it
Right.
that final time, and then that affected her being able to fly. But I don't know. I mean, if it is Andarna, it seems like could Andarna possibly be like a portable magic battery pack that Violet is able to pull from, and that's why Violet can still talk to her and to Taryn and can wield. Or is it that Violet
The only
was given to
reason
Dune as a child to save her life? That's the other thing that I'm trying to figure out from that whole part of the this section of chapters.
I'm like frustrated with that chapter because like I feel like we got some answer but not fully.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, why didn't you ask? Why don't you ask about the hair?
Just gotta figure it out. Elena, you were saying something. What were you saying about Andarna? Or
Oh, the not being able to talk to other people thing really throws me off because I feel like if it's Andarna, then Andarna should be able to talk to everyone, like not just Taryn and Violet. She should also be able to talk to the other dragons, but
that's a
she
really good
can't.
point.
And then
Mm-hmm.
so that's connected to Violet somehow. But then I would think if it's all Violet, then Violet should be able to talk to Xaden still,
Right. It's
potentially, based on however they're bonded. Although actually maybe not, because she can only talk to Xaden because I don't actually why can't she talk to Xaden and Sigale normally?
because Sigale and Tarn are bonded, and that's how
Yeah.
Finn and Violet are bonded.
I do think it is like a
Okay.
you. I think it is because of Taryn and Sigale. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it is because if Taryn and Sigale can't communicate, that also breaks
Yeah.
the Xaden Violet bond.
Okay.
Hmm.
So then in that case I think it would have to be through Violet and not through Andarna.
Unless like unless we say that like you being able to have a bond to your dragon, which is something that everybody has, right, is because of magic, which it seems like it is because everybody that we at least checked in with has lost their bond to their dragon other than Violet. So is it that Violet can still speak to Taryn and Andarna because of whatever Andarna has that Violet is pulling off of?
I would think Andarna would also be able to talk to the other dragons still, because Andarna isn't bonded to Taryn. She's connected through Violet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mysteries, man. Mysteries. With the whole Dune thing, what do you guys think? Like, to me, it seems very clear that like Violet is connected to like the goddess Dune. Do we think that she was dedicated as a child? Do we think it's a weird coincidence? Do we think that they're familial bonds? Like, where are your theories at with that?
Yeah, I feel like she had to be like blessed by Dune or something, and it makes me kind of annoyed because I don't love when books start bringing gods in, like book 3, because I feel like they tend to be overpowered. So it's just not my favorite trope. So, and if that's where we're heading, we'll see. But the also makes me feel bad because I haven't been paying attention to any of the time they mention gods. I'm like, oh look, this god does this, whatever. Who cares? Uh, but
Also how I
now
feel
it could
about
be
deities.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping track of them
Um,
unless like they mentioned the key word that relates to them, like Zinal
yeah,
and Luck. That's the only one I remember.
Or Malik.
and
Oh, and
Morley.
Malik. Sorry,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, those two.
They say that one all the time. That one's easy.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
I think Dune is wisdom. Um,
Interesting.
but yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if her parents did possibly dedicate her to Dune in order to save her life. Because we have like all these pieces of like Violet was really sick. If we believe Mira, Violet's hair was like that when she was born. Which I
That's
don't
what I was
remember.
getting, yeah, from what she said. And I was like, wait, what? So since birth, if she has always had it?
Yeah, but I mean, like, is it possible that either dad or dad and mom like went to the island like when she was pregnant and were like, "Hey, could you please spare our daughter? Like, you can have her if you let her live." Like, I could see that being a possibility.
Also, like my most unhinged thought so far was like, what if Lilith writing the letters to Dune? Like, what if Dune is her secret lover, and Dune was like, "Here, have this baby,"
Whoa.
and like, so the letters aren't there's a Dune.
So like we're in demigod territory now. Violet is a demigod.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, do I think it's likely? No, but like it would kind of fit. Like, if especially if Dune is the god of wisdom, which again before 2 minutes ago didn't know. Um, Violet
on.
being
I'm right
related to
about that.
makes sense without her
I would look it up right now, but I'm
like
too afraid.
scribeness.
Oh, wasn't there a I don't know, a guide?
I think it was just the
Never mind. Doesn't list out the guide.
So yeah, do I think it's likely that Lilith is writing to Dunne and their secret lovers? No. But I'm gonna put it out there just in case it's right, and then I can be like, look, I called it.
Right. I looked it up. Goddess of War. I was wrong.
Oh,
Also,
war.
Dunne is a girl.
That makes way more sense for. Well, I knew it was a she. She was a she.
You were just saying that Lilith and Dunne had a child.
Yes. Well, yes. I understand. I didn't
it
say
just
they had a
happened.
child. I said like Dunne gave her a child.
Oh, okay.
Dunne was
That's
like,
fine.
here, have a child.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens in Greek mythology. They're just like, here's a baby. I made it out of a plant. Congrats.
Well, that's how babies are born, right? Did you guys notice the part where Violet sees the statue of Dunne have like glowy gold eyes, and she's like, "Oh, and Darna's not listening to me again."
I do think it's Andarna. I also had the same
Yeah.
thought where I was like, no way. But then Andarna was there.
She's camouflaging probably. And singing to listen.
Is she though?
So wait, what do you think?
I just think that that's way too likely. Like, why would it be?
Dunne is watching
Andarna?
her daughter.
We don't actually have a moment where Andarna's on the ground. So Andarna's just like on the wall, and then all of a sudden is camouflaging over by the statue, but then is back on the wall to be angry about everything afterward.
Well, it was just like a quick moment, right? Where the eyes changed.
Sure was. Had to be Andarna.
You think like two places at once? Is that type of thing? Or maybe like she's cloning?
No. I just think that the statue, aka the goddess, like looked
Yeah.
out at Violet. It had nothing to do with Andarna.
Oh, okay.
There's a connection there.
I have no idea, but
Violet. Just something I noticed.
Did you think that the girl she was fighting was going to be the queen? Because maybe I should have seen it, but
No, well, I really thought that the fights were to the death because that's what they made it sound like. So I didn't think that people were going to be able to yield, honestly. I thought it was going to be pushed to the death. So I'm surprised that no one died.
Same.
By nobody. Who did you think was going to die? And why was it Dain?
Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be Dain and then the two people that Xaden and Violet fought. I thought those would be the three deaths. And it was Dain because Xaden and Violet can't die, and also Dain's squishier. Yeah. We also
Eric would have been.
Oh yeah, no. I was also very afraid for Eric. Like, I'm really glad that he was not thrown into the ring. Also, I learned that I think in the audiobook his name is Arik. Just I don't know if anybody wants to try to retrain their brain. I've been trying and failing.
My bad.
It is Eric and Kale forever.
Wrong book series.
Okay.
Elena, what were you gonna say? Were you saying something else about?
Oh,
Arik?
I was so proud of Eric for finally revealing himself and being like, Halden, you're a massive fuck up. Like, you can leave now.
I'm
Wait,
over
was
here
it?
thinking. I'm over here thinking that Arik.
Arik
I'm over here thinking
now.
Eric. My brain can't. It can't. I'm over here thinking Eric is bringing his dragon to like fly with Halden. I was like, oh wow, that's really nice of him. And then I was like, oh no, he's just like, move over, Halden. I got this.
Wait, so
Halden is such a loser.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, was that the section with the whole panther scene?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my god.
I was so wrong about him. I really thought it was going to be like oh, he's gross, but then like turns out to be like a cool guy. No, this guy he would make the worst king.
Definitely. Yeah. But it at least it showed that he kind of cares about his brother.
Yes.
At least there's that
You
part
did get
that's
that.
good about him. Yeah.
He has at least one redeeming quality.
Just one. Yes.
To be fair, it didn't seem like he searched for him super hard.
No. He looked at the places that he likes to go to.
Yeah, it's like we looked in the brothels
Oh,
and
I
the
see
gambling
all the
dens.
brothels.
You weren't there.
Also, can I just remind everybody that even after the whole debacle at not courting, with whatever, the
It was
king of
core
like,
something. Yeah.
yeah, there are too many
It was
core
like
things.
Corbin.
Yeah, but Corden,
Corden,
that's
Corsten.
where Tecarus lives. Anyway, the other king that's really shit.
The
I
one with
want
the
to just remind
panther is all I
everybody,
remember.
literally after Halden fucked that whole thing up, and then Xaden saved everybody, albeit taking,
Slurp
juice
juice.
box power and killing 12 people at once.
We need to discuss that.
Halden had the audacity to be like, "Oh yeah, you really messed up, Xaden." I was like, "Oh,
Yes,
dude,
I was
step
pissed.
back, step back."
It's Cortland.
Thank you. Like an
Some kind
apple,
of
but that's
core. Yeah.
Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Halden.
Elena, take the floor.
No, it was crazy. He got his guard killed for trying to steal things, and somehow
I
he
was
thought he
shocked.
was not in the wrong. It was
R.I.P. Anna.
brutal.
Or Anna, how's that pronounced?
It doesn't matter anymore. She's dead.
Sorry, girl, you chose the wrong prince.
Yeah, getting killed
Yeah.
and then being made into panther steaks is like right up there on my list of ways I don't want to go.
But it was badass when Andarna came in and had a panther in her mouth.
And when Violet did the entire negotiation herself.
Yeah.
She's really been on top in terms of negotiating this book so far.
Yes, yes. Are you guys worried at all about her?
No. No, I'm worried about the emotional trauma that she's going to sustain from these last 33 chapters and how she's going to come out on the other side in book 4. That's what I'm worried about for Violet, honestly. Her and me. I'm very worried for both of us.
That Xaden's eyes aren't turning back anymore?
They're not turning back anymore.
He's still beautiful.
Guys,
beautiful with red veins coming out of his face?
What does it mean?
It means you're taking the juice box too much. Every time there's a problem, he's like, know what the solution is? Oh no, I need to slip from the juice box. I really had to. I swear. It's not because I want to.
I wonder if there's like something about, you know, how like what's the place that they went to where like all of the color has went away? I wonder if that's part of the cure for Xaden. Like maybe it could just suck out all that red venom.
Yeah, what do we think?
Somehow.
Theories. Let's hear them.
Oh. I don't. Maybe the closer they get to the Irids, the less color there is. That's the only thing I have right now.
This is happening in all the island nations, none of which have magic, right? So, like, at first I was thinking it's because they don't have magic, so everything's like a little less colorful, but it's getting less and less colorful. So it could be just that it's like further and further away from the continent and away from magic. But is it that something is like just actively taking from the land, like in a venony way? Like, is it the dragons? Is it the people that live there? Is that how they use magic? Like,
I don't know, because I feel like when they talk about channeling on the continent, it turns gray. It doesn't turn colorless.
Is it sort of like a halfway step, like a half slurp, just like a little slurp, like a baby slurp?
Just a baby sample.
Too, because Taryn was also like, oh, it could be less magic, but then it's less of nothing. Because, like, implying the first island has nothing, and then it's
Right.
getting less and less. Which makes it feel almost like it's not related to magic and it's something else.
It's very weird. Also, the dead seagull. Like, just the random dead seagull.
Oh, wasn't that the one where like someone said ew or gross?
Yeah.
I forgot what the response was.
She said, yuck.
Wait, who said that? And Darna?
Violet. No, Violet just
Oh,
voiced it. She's like,
okay.
somebody had to step around a dead seagull. I was like, ooh, yuck.
That's so strange to
Maybe,
point out. It must
Yeah.
mean something.
maybe they also have plastic in their oceans. It's a statement on plastic killing the environment.
I believe it.
Guys,
I
I'm
absolutely
worried about Zayden.
Yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is his eerily good mood from the beginning of this section of chapters, which are we all in agreement that from that like first that note in the beginning of like chapter 26 or whatever it was that was like when you remove venom from the source, like all of a sudden they're super happy and then they just like they snap, like that's it. Like, do we think that's what that was?
I
No.
think it was Zayden genuinely being happy in that state.
Same.
Okay.
And
Yeah, like
I'm
he's
very
never been in a
optimistic.
non-stressful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like
So
he
we
can
don't
finally be
What if
free,
think
not
it was
have
that he all of a sudden was just like okay because he was away from magic, and then him killing 12 people all at once was him being in a murderous rage that was hinted at in that note. No.
no, because I think
no?
from that research
Mm.
in the epigraph, um, it was like after they had come back to a place with magic. Is that when they reached that new ASIM level or something?
Mm.
At least
Okay.
that's what I got from that.
So maybe
Theory
we have to worry about when Zayden goes back.
about
Yeah, that's why I'm like super concerned because he's in a magicless area, and so when he goes back, probably not in a good place.
He was in a magicless place
the ep-
then, and then returned to Eratia and Basgiath, and it doesn't seem like anything awful happened, but maybe it'll be worse this time.
Yeah, because that's what the research said, like each time, right?
Mm.
think so. It just said that withdrawal made them angry.
Yeah, it was like at first they're super pleasant, and then they're even worse.
No, it said even
Yeah.
tempered. It didn't say it made them like super happy.
Maybe it's because even tempered for Zayden is super happy.
Um, my theory about this random epigraph is that it just felt weird to me that we got this thing being like, and venom don't react well when they withdraw. It's like, why do we need to know that? We already have seen how Jack reacts. But then in that chapter, Taryn talks about how grumpy and angry he is, and about how it hurts them being away from magic, being away from like the land where the magic is. So my interpretation is that it's drawing a relationship between the venom and dragons. So like venom
Mm.
are removed from magic and like don't react well, and in this situation the dragons are removed from magic, and like Taryn is clearly not dealing with it well. So like maybe there's a closer relationship there than like previously thought.
Ooh, very
Wow. I
interesting.
didn't even think of that. Yeah. That's a really good point.
The dragons
It
are
must be
jealous.
It could
why
just be
I could see them being enemies,
what?
why Venom would see the dragons as enemies.
Yeah. Or it could just be telling us about how Navarre does secret evil experiments on venom. Who knows?
And not tell anyone.
It's all bad. All of it's bad. It does also seem like all of
It's
the
weird.
island nations want dragons, which I thought was interesting. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
been confirmed now.
Wait, one more question about the epigraph.
Oh yeah.
It says that her results can be found within 30C under the category death by fire and group 46C under the category death by poison. So did she die twice? Or did she die by fire and poison?
No, I think that's how the test subjects were ended when they went crazy.
So it's either fire or poison. Not that
It's
that.
saying fire and poison.
I took it to be that there are multiple times that they've tested that to see what happens when you take them away from magic, and that then the outcome was that they killed them with fire.
What chapter was it?
6.
26.
I don't,
26,
because
right?
it's saying her results can be found under death by fire and under the category death by poison. Which, like, I couldn't wrap my head around how does someone die both ways.
Yeah.
Unless they die twice.
I took it as like the results from the test, which they did multiple times.
But they're saying her results specifically.
Her being the person,
Yeah,
not the
the
thing.
test subject.
Like I would.
It's interesting. She's in 2 death groups.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, aren't there like
so then how did
many ways to kill a venom?
And subsequently, group 46C under the category death by poison.
Yeah.
So maybe it is both, but like, how did she come back? Do the second test.
I think when it says her results, though, it means the person doing the testing, not the venom. Like her study results from the venom study.
Referring to the subject as her. I don't know. That's how I'm interpreting.
Maybe.
Because it never talks about whoever's doing the research in the little paragraph.
Who does it say?
Captain Dominic Prischel.
Sounds like a man's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is kind of confusing.
Yeah.
No. It just was weird to me. It's like, it feels hard. Like, if it is the venom, it feels weird to be able to categorize death by poison and death by fire. Because you think it would just be death by fire. Because it would be hard to prove death by poison after death by fire.
Well, we can go real dark, and maybe if you kill a venom with fire, they don't stay dead.
Mm-hmm.
Did the sage die by fire at the end of Iron Flame?
And by Indarner's fire, right?
Oh, okay. So then
she killed someone with fire.
That's why the sage isn't dead then. That's a really good.
Maybe. I don't know.
So maybe they do come back. Because isn't it the Yapony? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Isn't like she like really, really, really
old?
old?
Oh my god, I skipped ahead and was reading.
You're just like, chapter 34. Let's find out what Xaden's mom's like.
It was in the 50s. And I was reading the epigraph without thinking about it.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's not too bad because those epigraphs can be so vague.
My goodness, but Elena, I think that you might have stumbled on something cool, and if we are not reading into it too deeply, I think that might be what it's trying to say is that maybe we kill venom by fire, but then all of a sudden they need to be killed again by poison.
Yeah, maybe double tap.
Double tap.
Like any good zombie.
Yep.
It just because I spent a while looking at that one, being like, but how? Yeah. How is it in both places?
I think that's a really good.
Yeah.
thought.
What kind of poison too? Maybe there's an antidote for a poison, and by Violet will figure it out because she loves, has knowledge in poisons.
She does have like a weird serum and antidote with her.
That's right. For Xaden.
It's supposed to be doing something to Xaden.
Yeah. I don't think she's used it yet, right?
No.
Just knock him out real fast. Yikes.
What are they gonna do next time Xaden channels and his eyes are red run?
Oh. I mean, like, I assume that
They, at
this
least,
ends with him leaving because he has to.
yeah, and at least I think when he's channel, it wasn't in Navarre where he could, be killed automatically. So there's a chance if he ever channels again and it's outside of Navarre, he could just run after. Either way, we're very concerned.
So concerned. Any other thoughts about Xaden specifically in this section and how worried we are for him? There were multiple times that we talked about like how cold he was and how like weirdly.
I'm glad to see that they can still break furniture even without magic.
That scene.
Yeah.
Nice.
What was the line? Halden can get fun.
I think too bad for Halden or Halden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was literally, they finish up breaking a table and then everybody's outside of their oh yeah, I found it because I put one of my nice bright pink sticky notes on it. But yeah, they're all like, hey guys, we need your help. And Dane's like, King Corlin has decided to keep Halden. And then Xaden shrugs, too fucking bad for Halden. Guys, but it was so sad. Like, did anyone else, like, because in that beautiful scene, Xaden tells Violet, don't worry, like, this isn't the last time, we're gonna do this all night. The minute he said that, I was like, that's not happening. And it didn't. And it didn't because he had to save her.
You're making us all sad.
What if they just get some Visine? Like, just get rid of that red rim, like real quick. Just some eye drops, and he'll be fine.
Eye drops.
Makes the red go away, right? No. I'm
Maybe.
Because I'm gonna lose my shit at the end of this book. I can feel it already.
I'm proud of you for being at a point where you can now admit that something about Xaden is different.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that that's become pretty obvious is that like Xaden is not himself. Like he's definitely a colder, harder version. Even I forget like what the specific line is, but when he's just like, yeah, death is on the table. It's just like Violet sees that he's not himself. And like, yeah, I've come around to the fact that like obviously something is happening and he keeps channeling, so it's only going to get worse. I still do think there is a way to get him back. It's just I think it's got to get worse before it gets better, kind of thing.
It's so hard because like we see moments where we love him and he's flirting and all these like cute moments. There's hope there.
And it's just that like all the times that he channels or like is really, not himself and like extra cold, it's all like touch her and die moments, which it's like on the one hand I'm like I love this, but on the other hand it's like my guy, you need to calm
It's
down.
killing you.
Like your
Yeah.
heart rate is spiking and every time it does you're getting closer to a heart attack. Like please stop.
I think what also hurts is that like Violet is starting to lose a little hope too. Like she says something to someone, but she wasn't confident in it. I think it was like Garrick
serum, I think.
or yeah, Garrick or Bodhi.
I think it's, or at least this is how I read it, and maybe it's just like me still projecting, but I read it as like she feels confident or like she will not let go of the hope that she can find a cure. I think she's realizing that time is going by quicker than she wants it to, and I think she's seeing that like 6 months until Erasha's wards are gone, and like she doesn't know how much time she has until possibly Xaden is beyond help, or like it will be harder to get him back, and I think she's worried about what could happen in the time that it takes her to find the cure too. Because right, like all that it needs to be is he's in the wrong place at the wrong time and he channels like that girl did on the mat and he's dead. He's just immediately dead. And then
Mhm.
she won't have the chance to save him. So I think that is why she's getting worried. So bad.
So worried.
Um, so I mentioned really quickly, but we had to talk more about I was trying to pivot too fast, but everybody wants dragons. How
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
do we think that it like is there more beyond the fact that just like obviously everybody wants dragons and magic?
They just want dragons. Like there could be. It feels weird that they all want dragons, but also like fair point. Who wouldn't want a dragon?
Right. Dragons magic equals power, right?
Right. Yeah. I think that it could be that simple. I also think that there could be another piece to it. I have no idea what that would be.
I feel like the Imperium wouldn't even allow it. So
Okay.
these
They're
isles are
also mad.
just yeah. I think these isles are just like
It's
way over
almost
their heads.
it's the Isles don't seem to understand that the dragons are sentient beings that make choices because they keep asking other people to like, hey, just give us the dragon eggs. And it's like, people, we're not just gonna steal these babies from these sentient beings. Maybe if you want them, ask them yourselves, and they're still gonna tell you no.
It gave me like really icky slavery vibes, honestly, where they were like, we recognize that these are real people, but like if we take them when they're young enough, we can convince them that they couldn't have had a better life and just to do what we want. Like that was the ick that I was getting through that whole thing. And it was like, no, we're not gonna take children and give them to you so you can just like, you know, brainwash them into being your little like war robots. Like, absolutely not.
Hmm.
Ugh.
That's definitely ick. But I was gonna mention, like, did you guys catch that epigraph in that? I don't know what chapter it was, but it felt like no matter what, even if you're bonded to a dragon, they might not even
Mhm.
Mhm.
choose you over their what's it called, their clan? What is it called?
Yeah,
You
no,
know
but
what I
The
mean?
Empyrean, I think.
that was the
Yeah.
vibe is that
So like,
they will
yeah,
protect
what
you.
does that right? And what does that mean for like Xaden and Violet? Like, if it comes to it, what would Indarna do? What would Tarn do? And Sigil? I feel like Sigil would definitely pick the Empyrean over Xaden. Did you guys think so? What do you?
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
I
Or
think
like
the only one that wouldn't is Andarna. Like Andarna is enough of a teenager that she'd be like, Violet is my friend, and I'm gonna help her despite what all you adults think.
I do
I
hope
agree
that
with
there
that.
isn't a world in which like Violet's back is against the wall and she sees that as the only way to save Xaden and then like considers doing that and we put Taryn in that situation. Like I hope that we wouldn't get there, but I could also see a world in which she would potentially make that decision in order to save him.
And he also said himself, like, if you go, then I go. Not word for word, but
What a happy book. Mm. I will say though that like I think you kind of mentioned this, Jamie, but like you know, with them getting back to their furniture wrecking days, there have been just like so many like beautiful one-liners and moments with the two of them that like even as like Xaden is losing more pieces of himself, like it almost like I feel like he's doubling down on them. Like we have yet another like oh like let's go talk to King Cortland, and you know, he presents Violet as his consort in order to get her in. And then she's like, "Oh, really, consort?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, like boyfriend was not good enough." And she's like, you know, and he like he keeps alluding to the fact that he wants to talk about what their forever is, which is so interesting coming from a man that thinks that he might not have a future. Like he genuinely does seem interested in wanting one with her. I also noticed that there was a line about how if something were to happen to him, that Bodhi will take over Tyrandor. Like he will make sure Tyrandor's okay. So I no longer am super worried about Xaden like asking her to marry him in order to protect Tyrandor. I am wondering if there is some sort of like, I don't know how many days I have left, and this is all that I want, and will you please? And I will die. I will die.
Or, or, Brody takes over because Zayden abdicates or whatever the term is, and then him and Violet just run off in the sunset.
To Venom school. Yeah. That's where they're going. Theophany already has their desks ready for them.
Talking about Vince, Theophany was also a priestess of Dunne or something.
For sure.
Just a
Yeah.
random.
Yeah, the minute Violet was like, what's that tattoo on her head? I was like,
what does that mean?
Old enough that it like you can't see it anymore, which means that she's really old. And are Venom immortal? Do we think Venom is that like a thing that they don't die?
I think they're like immortal adjacent.
So then she came from the Isles like a long time ago.
That's my guess. Also, is it possible that if we think that maybe Violet was given to Dunne by one or both of her parents, was she given to Dunne through Theophany instead of going to the actual isle itself?
Oh my
That did just
god.
pass my mind as you were discussing.
And that's how she knows her.
Her.
I don't know, I'm just spitballing with my anxiety.
I think it makes sense for why Theophany lets her go, which seems kind of out of character.
It's because Theophany is so confident she's coming back. She doesn't feel the need to keep her because she knows she's coming back. And I think that's because she knows what's happened to Zayden and she knows that she has to come back to save him.
This tells me that, like, I feel like it's definitely coming. What about Mira?
Might be involved.
Guys, Mira was so swirly in this section.
Yeah, what is going on?
Who's grandma?
If I had to guess if Mira or grandma is Venom, I'd pick grandma.
Grandma's giving sus right now.
Yeah. Well, it just even like taking like who's Venom out of the equation, it's like why did grandma and the parents of Mira and Violet like not agree? Like what was it that was so big that one or both parties decided to do away with the other?
Maybe it has something to do with Violet. Yeah, the parents cut them off and it was Asher's mother.
And is it that he dedicated his daughter to a goddess in like a hundreds-year-old practice that had been outlawed?
It's just so weird. I feel like he would do it for the wisdom, the god of wisdom, instead of like the god of war.
Right.
You know?
The god
I have no idea.
does give more of a Lilith vibe.
Yeah. Also, what's with the bracelet?
What's with the bracelet?
The bracelet that's just like weirdly super black, definitely tourmaline. Couldn't be another like, black stone or something that might be in the title of the book we're reading. Definitely not that.
Smells like parchment.
Smells like parchment. What? What?
Like, I don't know if it's just like some random thing that Rebecca added just to say that it's related to the dad, or if it's like something with her signet.
I think it's that Violet knows what's up with the bracelet and that Dad wrote about it. So she's recalling the scent of the parchment while she's trying to decide, like trying to remember why she knows about it.
There were like the two weird things where like Violet like gets a weird feeling about this bracelet. Well, she doesn't get a weird feeling. She thinks it looks oddly familiar and it smells like parchment. And then also like when she had her orb thing and she's like, I feel like it's humming, but I know that's in my head. It's like, really, that's not in your head. Why do we
Yeah.
keep like feeling things like and being like, no?
I mean, I think the conduit humming, like, I think that's connected to the fact that she can channel where there isn't magic. Like, she can wield her signet where there isn't magic. But, like, I think the bracelet is something different. Like, I think it's, I don't know. I genuinely do think it's made of onyx. And what does onyx do? I don't know.
You think it's venom related? I think you're.
Oh, I mean, I still think that mirror is venom. Like, I do wonder if, like, onyx, like, if the bracelet somehow, like, keeps her from showing as venom. Like, if it somehow, like,
Yeah.
has some sort of properties that make it so that you can't see that her eyes are red.
Overall part isn't like about dragons. It's about like if Mira was Venom, then she wouldn't be able to go on this trip unless she had something that connected her to magic. Otherwise, she'd be withdrawing. Although Venom is Zayden is Venom, and he's freaking out, really. I know you think
That, or
but
she's venom enough, like high in the ranks, that it doesn't phase her.
Yeah. If mirror is venom, she's a higher ranked venom.
the first trip with Halden. Yeah, she did. That's the one she got
Yeah.
angry that the books are for Violet and not her. God, that scene was this section, right? Where the lady thought that Zayden was Dain.
Yeah. Right?
Big moment. I laughed out loud.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was.
Thanks.
It's all mushed. It's all mushed together.
It really is. That was a really good moment.
Yeah. No, it definitely was because we stopped right when they get to the island. So, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the not Mira, Violet got all of the books from her dad. But then, yeah, Mira has like a weird outburst about how upset she is that dad didn't pick her, which seemed strange to me, and just almost like a venony withdrawal outburst, just a little bit.
Yeah, I honestly took it as face value, like a sibling
Mm.
jealousy, but yeah, now I'm just unsure. It really could be anything.
I just have a hard time believing that Zayden's the only one hiding being Venom. Like, it just seems like if it can happen so easily that a random second year gets super scared in a match and just like slurps, like there's got to be somebody
I
else.
Yeah, I still think it's a professor, but like we haven't had too many interactions with them to suspect.
Much like needing more
Dain
power as a
Aetos.
Venom, my laptop needs more power to sustain us through this episode. We're good. Juice box slurped.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What's going on with Mira? But sus.
Yeah. Do you think that we meet Grandma in this book?
It's a good question.
It
Maybe not
seems like
until the.
I feel like no.
I was just gonna say it seems like a really weird, like added plot point for us to not get at least like more information about it before the book is over. Like I don't think it's just gonna be like, ah yes, I went to visit grandma and like you should talk to her and then like we don't hear about it again until like a later book.
Hmm.
You say that, but book one, Violet's like, and my dad wrote these journals.
At least we found them. Like we finally have them. I'm so happy.
3 books later.
2. You're being dramatic.
I would
Okay.
never.
So I kind of brought it up. What other theories do we have about the beautiful title of this book? What are we thinking?
Empty.
Onyx Storm.
I think it's definitely like a combination of Xaden and Violet.
Like a mashup of their signets, how they work together.
Yeah. There was like a line about love being like an alchemy or something. And I feel like that's very them.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty telling of like them being able to like wield their signets together. Um
Hmm.
I did find it very interesting that there was a line about how Xaden's eyes were like an onyx tempest. It's basically an onyx storm.
Oh, yeah. I didn't catch that.
And the number of times that we talk about how his eyes and their bond are onyx, it's like onyx is very much him. And it's like,
Even like the shadows in the mind, or like when he tries to
Mhm.
get through the bond.
yeah, like is it the storm inside of Xaden? Because I really do think that this book has to end with him being fairly venom and them wondering if he's going to come back. Um, is it like the storm of what's going on inside of him? I feel like it's got to be more concrete than that, though. And then you both know I'm looking for that third signet because Xaden has to have a third signet. And it's like, is he a storm wielder? Because I think that it's been brought up in the past
Hmm.
that storm wielding was one of the big six, like, was a very powerful signet. So if we're
Hmm.
looking for more powerful signets to be brought into this, like, big six, is it possible that Xaden and Violet could be super OP and he could potentially create lightning for her to wield in future?
Or maybe some other storm.
Yeah,
No idea.
I don't know. Any thoughts, Elena, on what our title means?
No, I feel like the only thing that like I have right now and that I agree with is the idea that like Onyx could refer to Xaden, like the darkness of the shadows, and then Storm could be Violet.
Mm.
So
I mean, the
essentially, two
tagline is
sides.
"Brave the Dark." Who's brave in the dark? Violet? Both?
I mean, we've got to have another scene where Violet is surrounded by Xaden's shadows and not good, right? Like, I loved that scene, but at the same time, like, I feel like it's going to happen again when he's not entirely himself and she's got to make that decision.
Big twist of all time if she actually kills him.
I feel like she won't. My hope is that she won't because she found the cure. Or she found like some kind of loophole or something because she's so smart. I have a
I
lot of hope.
I feel like it's got to be darker than that. I feel like there's got to be a leap of faith where she doesn't know that she can cure him and she's still going to have to choose to not end him. Like, she's going to have to go off of pure faith that she can find something to save him.
I do think that's the most likely. Um,
Yeah.
have we talked? Have we talked about everything with the exception of the plot twist at the end?
God, let me see. But yeah, no, that's all I have left is just the bullet point Zayden's mom. Guys, we found her.
I had
This,
forgotten she was missing.
yeah,
Me too.
yeah. Honestly, like the minute she popped up, I was like, oh right, we definitely were wondering that multiple times during Iron Flame. It's like, where is Zayden's mom? She's here, living her best life. It looks like.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a happy reunion.
Nope.
I mean, how happy can it be when you had this child because you were contracted to do so, and then the minute your contract was up, you went peace out and have never been seen since? Like, I can't imagine it's good on either side. And I really knowing what we know about Zayden's mom and that whole situation, which is very little, like I just summarized everything that we know. Like I can't blame her yet. Like I feel like we're going to now get more information about what she was like, what his childhood was like, and like what the whole situation was.
Yeah.
She could have stayed in the area, like weekend visits, maybe.
I mean, I try to like be unbiased and put myself in her shoes. And it's like, okay, if I had been in that situation in like a super unhappy marriage that I only said yes to because of some sort of contract, like, wouldn't you want to like go find your happiness? And it seems like she has. And I mean, it's really awful because I cannot imagine like walking away from my son, but like maybe she felt like she had to.
And also, like, the way Zayden like protectively moves around Violet the minute he sees
Hmm.
her doesn't bring good vibes either.
I think like the whole thing, the whole aisle doesn't give off good vibes. What with the bird, and then like I just felt like so the guy that went to see them to meet them first, like didn't seem like they're like he's too nice, and I'm just like why? Because like every time they visit an aisle, it was always been bad news.
Yeah, in my notes, I said that the island was a muted Stepford Wives. It does give off very creepy vibes.
I do feel like a peaceful, like, wisdom land usually has like the secret dark research dungeon that they bring people to in a lot of these types of books.
Yeah.
All in the name of
But
science.
oh, you have dragons? We would like to study them. Well, how long can they put up with fire?
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I think that Zayden protectively like shielding Violet from his mom, I think could be like a sign that, maybe is she super violent or like there were some really weird things that happened in his childhood with her for sure. Could it also just be him projecting, like, because he was so hurt by her, whether it was like emotionally or physically, that he's now feeling attacked by seeing her in such a shocking way that he immediately protects the thing that he cares about.
Yeah. It seems like the mom cares for him, or maybe has like regret. Like she tried to reach out to him and then stopped herself because she obviously doesn't have like that relationship to warrant it. And I think Zayden, obviously, there's some resentment there.
So we don't think this is going to go well. We're getting some weird vibes.
Hmm.
I am both overwhelmed and thrilled that we are only halfway through this book, like exactly halfway. I have no idea what else is coming other than the things that we have anxiously surmised up to this point. Like, does anyone else have any thoughts about like, what's happening, what's going to happen next?
Probably Zayden will slurp again. I'm sorry, channel again.
I forget what we said because I
Um,
thought we like guessed at the beginning of this how many times we thought he was gonna slip up. Because I remember thinking like 3 and he's already there. So now I'm like, oh no.
And we're only like halfway.
Yeah.
thinking R.A.P. Garrick question mark? Dain question mark?
Ooh. You think Zayden accidentally kills Garrick?
I think in
No.
this book. I don't
You
think
don't think
he's at that point where he's lost himself enough yet, but I think at some point he will get to a point where he's lost himself too much.
and you don't think that's gonna happen in this book?
Mm-mm. At this point, no. Because I think we still have, like, I think we're still going to be in the Isles for the end of, like, the next, when we talk next. in the next
Oh,
11 chapters.
yeah, I would guess.
Which I don't. He's kind of away from being venom now because there's nothing else for him to slurp from.
Unless there's a
We would
big
hope.
dragon juice box that he could accidentally find out he can slurp from.
So you think like he'll be under some kind of threat, or Violet will be under some kind of threat at this aisle?
Yeah, of course. At every aisle.
Every aisle. It's tracking.
I just wonder, right? Because he now knows that he can channel from her conduit. And I think we've kind of proven that she could power that conduit at any time if she wants to, no matter if it's like because of Andarna or what it is. So I feel like there's gotta be another time where he like, oops, channels. Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't slurp a person on accident.
I didn't know that was a possibility.
Well, that's the whole thing that they were all worried about with him sleeping in the same bed as Violet, is if he would potentially like murder her on accident.
But not like channel. Well, I didn't know that you could channel from person.
Well, I think that's like what happens is like when the venom channel in the earth and it's like coming toward them and it just
Yeah,
sucks the
yeah.
magic out of everything, including dragons and people. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot more to come. Hopefully we'll get more answers. I fear we're going to get more questions as well. But yeah, I'm excited.
Like thing Jacob said.
No, we want to know nothing from people that have finished this book. If you finish this book, keep your mouth shut. Jacob, no one wants to hear what you've got to say. I don't even want to hear what tone of voice he's like saying random real life sentences to you. I don't even want to know, like, does he seem depressed? Does he seem
I don't want
hopeful?
any
No.
reactions.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh my
I don't
god,
even
freak me
Keep saying
out.
to him, anytime he says anything, I'm like, stop spoiling. And he's like, I'm not spoiling. And I was like, you literally are. Just by like saying these like nonchalant things, you're
Yes.
spoiling.
Correct. And that's why you are not going to repeat them and you're just going to have to live with it. You tell Jacob to just go move in with someone else for 2 weeks until we finish this book. Oh, on that note, absolutely no one spoil this for us. We will find out where you live. But next, we're going to be reading chapters 34 to 44. And then we're going to come back here and talk about all of it and probably do some more crying. So do that with us. Or if you finish the book, come back and laugh at us. Because I'm sure we're wrong about a lot of things and probably right about a lot of other things that are making us sad.
You can definitely laugh at us.
Yeah, come be emotionally destroyed with us. But we will see you next week for episode 4. Bye, guys.